Being productive isn't hard when it's something that we enjoy or feel like doing. For example, we don't have to muster up willpower to play Apex Legends. Where the battle really happens is when we know we should do something, but we really just don't feel like doing it. Thankfully, there are ways around this, so let's take a look at what they are. Hi there friends, welcome back to the channel where we focus on self-improvement, productivity, and making the best possible versions of ourselves. Now, I could have given you some very common, vague productivity hacks and motivation and all that stuff, but in my opinion, that's treating the symptom and not the cause. If you aren't motivated or feeling productive, there's usually a reason for it. So tracking that down is the best way to cure unproductiveness. Pretty sure that's not a word. Yeah, it is. I just made it one. Before we dive in deep into this topic, let me be a little bit uncharacteristically blunt with you. You are not automatically productive by watching this video. This video will help you, but at the end of it, if you just spend another hour scrolling through YouTube, then your problem is probably a lack of discipline, not the deeper lying issues, which is what we're going to be covering in this video. The two brains. First of all, we have to understand that there are two parts of your brain, and they're really bad at communicating with each other. Those two parts are the feeling brain and the thinking brain. Despite what you may think, your feeling brain is actually in the driver's seat of your brain mobile, and your thinking brain is in the passenger seat. Now, your thinking brain can influence your feeling brain with maps and strategies and ideas, but ultimately your feeling brain is what makes the final decision, the final call, and has the final say-so. But your thinking brain is actually not in control. Don't believe me? I'll prove it. Ready? Here we go. All right. Whatever you do, do not think about a pink elephant. Do not think about a pink elephant holding a blue umbrella in its trunk. Do not think about a pink elephant at all while you're listening to what I'm saying. Now, not only were you thinking about a pink elephant holding a blue umbrella, but you were watching yourself think about a pink elephant with a blue umbrella while you were listening to what I was saying and watching me talk. Your observing mind was picturing your thinking mind indulge in pink elephants repeatedly, despite the fact that I was telling your thinking brain not to indulge in said elephants. As you can see, this is very problematic for us because it makes doing things that we don't feel like doing, but probably know that we should do, very difficult. And hence where the question comes, how do I get myself to do something that I don't feel like doing? Now, I can make a whole video on the thinking brain and the feeling brain, and I will do that shortly, but that's not really the goal of today's video. The goal of these things is to show you that it's totally normal to feel this way. So you can stop beating yourself up about not being motivated to do something simply because you know that you should do it. Now that that foundation is laid, we can go ahead and move into how to convince the feeling brain to do something that we don't really want to do. Kind of sounds like an oxymoron, I know. Now, this is not original with me, but comes from Mark Manson, who is a very talented author who writes some very interesting books. He compares self-awareness with peeling back an onion. For whatever you're feeling or thinking, there's always another layer beneath. And the deeper you go and the more layers you peel back, the more likely you are to spontaneously burst into tears. The reason why this onion is so important for this specific topic is because if you don't feel like being productive, there's a good chance that somewhere in this onion, there's a thought, belief, or value that's causing you to feel this way, and therefore making you feel like being unproductive. Now, you can take this as deep as you want to, but we're only going to go into the first three layers, which is what he discusses in his book. Layer 1, understanding one's emotions. Most people can do this fairly well. This basically just means that you know what makes you happy, sad, angry, etc. With this layer, we ask, what am I feeling? And in this case, we're feeling unmotivated, lazy, unproductive, etc. Next, we're going to look at the second layer, which is where it gets a little bit more in depth and we can actually see some growth. But first, before we go there, I just want to take a second to thank you for clicking on this video and supporting me in any way that you do, whether that's through a like or a comment, subscription. It really goes a long ways and it really helps me along my goal of becoming a full-time YouTuber. So thank you for that, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Layer 2, the ability to ask why we feel certain emotions. This is where it gets a little bit harder, so don't feel bad if it doesn't come to you naturally. This layer is designed to help you understand what the root cause of that emotion is and why it's making you feel overwhelmed. So you may ask yourself, why do I feel unmotivated or unproductive? And you may have to ask this question a number of times based on whatever answer you get. I don't feel productive because I am tired. Why are you tired? Because I was up late watching YouTube. Why were you up late watching YouTube? Because I was medicating my frustration on how my last YouTube video performed. So, but then by asking why were you frustrated, it takes us into layer 3, which is our personal values. Why we consider something to be a success or a failure is based on what we're measuring it with. So in my analogy, the reason why I was feeling frustrated was because I was basing my scale of success or failure on bad values. And those values were, how many views were I getting on YouTube, or what were people thinking of my content? So then if we follow that analogy and we ask those questions and continue down that road, we see that I was unmotivated or feeling unproductive because I was basing my success and happiness on something that was outside of my control instead of on myself, my performance, and my abilities. If my values are incorrect, then my feeling brain is going to associate the negative aspects of whatever happens with that task. So, why would I make another video because that last video was garbage and made me feel horrible? Values are usually where this sort of thing comes back to, and that's why I said it's a deeper lying issue. This isn't something the little 3-minute hack is going to fix for you. But by taking those values and adjusting them, you can completely change the outcome of your productiveness and your motivation. So take my analogy for example. Let's say that I took that incorrect value and switched it. So now my value is, make content that I am happy with. So then I can take that exact same video and look at it and say, hey, this is one of my favorite videos I've ever made. It's not garbage and I'm very happy with the effort I put into it. Now all of a sudden my value will now push me to be more productive instead of holding me back. Because if I waste time and goof off and don't be productive and put as much time into that video as I wish, and the video turns out bad, then that's going against my values, and that will hold me accountable and help push me to be productive. And you see the point here, because now when it's something based on my control and it's something that I'm in control of, such as, I'm happy with the video, then it doesn't matter how it performs on YouTube. That's not going to affect my happiness or my level of success or failure, and therefore will not prevent me from feeling motivated. A lot of times, this is the core underlying value, or not this exact one, but a core underlying value somewhere needs to be switched so that you're not being held back or unmotivated or feeling unproductive. And like I said, being unproductive or unmotivated is a symptom of something much, much deeper. And by addressing that and figuring out a way all the way down to whatever that is, if you switch that, it dramatically changes everything. Good values are reality-based, socially constructed, and immediate and controllable. Whereas bad values are things that tend to be outside of your control, things that are based on other people's standards or how other people react, and that's your baseline of happiness instead of inside of you and how you are performing. So whatever value you come to that needs to be changed, rearrange that value and change it so that the process is something that makes that pain worth enduring. You can try all you want to be productive or motivated to eat an onion, but I can guarantee you if there's no motivation that makes eating that onion worth it, it's gonna take forever. And I hope you see now why I didn't just break this down into like a quick little hack or something, because while those have their place and they are profitable, if it's something like this where it's consistently ongoing, then usually it has to do with some sort of underlying problem, either with your values or how you're measuring success and failure. In most cases, I've found that those hacks, while they work for a short time, will not solve your problem long term. And that just makes it frustrating, and it makes you scour YouTube all over again to find more hacks to replace those with. Now, there's a good chance that while you were watching this, you thought of someone else that could benefit from hearing about this topic. If that's the case, I would highly encourage you to send them this video. If they choose not to watch it or they don't want to be interested in it, that's totally fine. That's on them, it's not on you. But it's worse yet if they never have the option to hear. So with that being said, as always, stay creative, and I'll see you in the next video.